Hi everybody and welcome back to Crafted by Corie. If you're new, I'm Corie. Welcome to my channel, and if you're returning, thank you so much as always for being here. I appreciate you more than I can say. Today is super exciting because I am part of the Crafty Ghouls playlist, and I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. But for now, let's go ahead and get right on into the crafting. DIY number one. This is my inspiration picture. I made some similar minis a couple weeks ago, and I'm so excited to make the big ones. I started out, yes, it was nighttime. Rich was recording me. I started out trying to use my jigsaw. My uncle is a carpenter, and he recommended the jigsaw. I was struggling, to be quite honest, and so I ended up investing in a scroll saw. I did that on my own, so I didn't have footage, but this is how they turned out with my scroll saw, and I promised to do other future projects with the scroll saw, and I will record it so I can show you how that works, but I love it. So much fun. So I am sanding these down, just getting the rough edges taken care of, and now I'm going to come in and give them just a really rough coat with my black chalk paint. So this is by Home Decor. It's just called black, and I am again just giving it a really rough, not a complete coat. Now you could, if you choose to, paint them fully and then take a sander to them, or a sandpaper and sand them by hand. I chose to just do a really messy paint job, and I figured I would get a similar effect. So now I am just drawing the shape of my eye on the back of some adhesive felt, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that out, and then I used it as a pattern to cut out six more, well, six total, not six more, but six total, because I needed 6 little eyes. So once I have them all placed where I want them, I'm going to go ahead and remove the backing off of my felt, and I'm going to go ahead and place that down on my little kitty cats where they need to be. And I went ahead and did that with all 6 of them. And I guess I decided I needed to show you this for whatever reason. So bear with me because we're going to move right about now. So once I had my eyes all attached, I went ahead and grabbed my little hula skirt. I have been using this for all kinds of projects. It's lasted me a long time. It's great. And I just took one of the hula strands, which actually equated to 4 strands of what I've been referring to as raffia, and tied that in a bow around my kitty cat where the neck might be, and then trimmed off my little ends and kind of manipulated it to and bent it to where I wanted it to be. And then I did the same thing on the other 2 cats. This was such a simple and fun project, and I love them. I hope you do too. So as I mentioned before, this is part of a playlist. This is the Crafty Ghouls Halloween DIY playlist, hosted by Crafts with Ash DIY and Decor, and co-hosted by Liz Moore, Decal and Decor. We have some fabulous ladies in this playlist. I hope you'll check it out when you're done with my video. DIY number 2. This is my inspiration picture. This is from, I believe it was Wayfair, and I just thought that they were cute. And so I'm using ping pong balls and some lights from the Dollar Tree and some fabric from the Dollar Tree as well. So my white fabric has a little bit of this pattern on it. You could certainly use white on white, but I am going to fold it in thirds, evenly in thirds, and then fold it in thirds again evenly, because I want to try and get squares that are all about the same size. And this is going to give me 9 squares. So I'm just pulling it taut and cutting along my seams, and that's how I'm getting my squares. Now, these ended up being about 7 inches by 7 inches. You could absolutely do larger ones. As you saw, I kind of folded it in half and half again, and then as a triangle, and cut out the little tip, and that was where I found my center. coming in now with my hot glue gun to just kind of melt a hole in the top of my ping pong ball. And then I thought I was going to have to use hot glue underneath my fabric to secure my little lights, but when I popped it into the ping pong ball, my hole was actually exactly the right size for the light to be able to go in but not pull right out again. So I really lucked out on this project with that, and I did not end up needing to use extra glue or anything to secure my lights. So that was a really happy surprise. So now, because my little squares are so small, they kind of, as you can see, have no form to them. So I decided I was going to come in with some ribbon and just give my little ghosts some shape here. And so I'm just tying some of my yarn around the base of the ping pong ball and just getting that nice and tight. And I'm going to do that all the way down my length of lights and just make sure all my little ghosts are taken care of. Now, once I tied the bow here, so I kind of started out at the base of the ball, I guess maybe a little bit more than halfway down, and then pulled it tight, and it would automatically slide down and help pull the fabric tight. And then I could fluff out the bottom of my little ghost to fluff it out and also help keep the yarn in place. And that's it, you guys. I love these. You can do little faces on them. I actually liked them as they were, so I did not do faces on them this time. But here they are, all glowing. I tried to turn the light out for you. It looks like my camera compensated for it a little bit, but I just think these are super, super sweet. So now you can see I did have one light that was not covered up. I did that on purpose. I did have an extra ping pong ball that I could have used. I didn't have enough fabric to cover all 10, but I also wanted to make sure I had, something to hang it from. So I went ahead and I wrapped some more yarn around that last light just to cover it up, created a little hanger, and then I covered up the box as well. Now, if and when I decide I need to change the batteries in this, I will have to undo all of that yarn. So I was thinking about it afterwards. I was like, maybe I should have covered it with felt on all sides, or I don't know. But here they are. DIY number 3. So this was my inspiration. I found it on Pinterest, and we are going to make a sign. My sister had picked these cute little broomsticks up at the Dollar Tree for me. I also have this Dollar Tree sign that I'm just going to prep, and I'm going to give it a good coat of my black chalk paint. And then while that is drying, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my Cricut Design app in my phone, looking for a font that I like for this. And then I'll go ahead and I'll type in my words. And then I pulled out my little Cricut Joy, which was perfect for this project. It just makes it so simple. This is not a sponsored video. I do work with Cricut, but this particular video is not sponsored. I just really do love the Joy. So I went ahead and grabbed my white, this is what they call smart vinyl. You don't need a mat for it. It just feeds right into the machine. And then it went ahead and cut it. And this is so simple, you guys. Yeah, it's really, really easy. They make it as simple for you as they possibly can. And so then once it was all cut, I kind of cut my my vinyl up into a couple of pieces there for stacking my words. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I went ahead and weeded it, got it onto my transfer paper, and now I am applying my stencil. So I didn't have actual stencil vinyl for this, so I just used my white vinyl that I had on hand. And it worked out just fine. So once I got the first part of my sentence on there, I went ahead and lined up the second part where I wanted it. And I'm just trying to judge where I'm going to end up putting my little broomstick. So now instead of paint, I'm going to come in with my Mod Podge. This is the I want to say shiny, glossy. I wanted to say shiny Mod Podge. It was my gloss Mod Podge, and I am going to use that. I'm doing it in sections because I found that the Mod Podge was drying really pretty quickly on me. So I am sprinkling some of my Arteza glitter all over the Mod Podge as I go there. Once I had that all on, I went ahead and I knocked off any of the excess. I did not wait for it to dry completely because I want to pull up my stencil before my Mod Podge is fully dried so that I don't end up peeling it all up off of my project. So I got the rest of that glitter put back into the little container, and now I'm just going to go ahead and pull up my vinyl. Now it did want to try to pull up my paint a little bit here and there, so it did give it a little bit of a rustic kind of look to it in places, but I was okay with that. I'm really fine with things not being perfect and looking a little bit worn. So if that is something that would bother you, you just want to try and keep that in mind, and you might want to use actual stencil vinyl. So now I'm just coming in with a paintbrush with my Mod Podge again. I'm just creating little dots, and then I'm going to come in with my glitter again on the little dots and do the same thing. I just went ahead and got rid of the excess, and then I set it aside to dry. So now I've got my little broomstick, and I decided I wanted to knock down the black on the handle a little bit because otherwise it's going to be black on black. It's going to be really hard to see it. So I didn't want it to be too light. So I was kind of coming in with my little wet wipe and then back in with some paint and going back and forth until I got it about the shade that I wanted it, just helping it to pop up off of that black. So I positioned it where I thought it was going to look the best, and then I gave it a healthy dose of hot glue, set it right back down on there again, and that was it, you guys. Isn't it cute? I love it, and I hope you do too. And now it's time for a shout out timeout. Super Granny Sagmo, this is awesome. I need this for my own kitchen with all the measurements. And awesome Valerie. Valerie has been super busy. I love these. And beautiful Heather. Heather said she was inspired by a project I had done, and I love it. And lovely Laura. These are gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. And cute Patty. We've got more projects from Patty. She has been on a roll, super busy. I would love to give you a shout out as well. If you have interest, to send me a picture via email at craftedbycorie@gmail.com. DIY number 4. So starting out with this boo sign from the Dollar Tree, and I actually have done a haul that this is included in that I haven't posted yet, so you're going to see the haul after the project, but you know, it happens. So I'm giving this a coat of my Adirondack white chalk paint. I did leave that hanger on it for the time being, thinking I might be able to use it later, but you'll see what I end up doing. And this is my Arteza acrylic paint marker. And I am just going to go in and I am going to draw some stripes on that first O. Now you can tape it off and make it perfect if you want to. As I mentioned before, I kind of like it when things are a little bit imperfect. Sometimes. There are some times when I can get very particular, but this isn't one of those times. I wanted it to be a little bit more whimsical. And so I am just creating some little cobwebs or spider webs on that bottom O with the exclamation point and getting this all cutesied up. Gonna draw some more right here, and then a little spider guy. Our little pal is gonna come dropping in for a visit here. So you can decorate this however you want. You don't have to make it black and white. I chose to make mine black and white, but you do whatever is going to make your heart happy. As I always say, you know, these projects are really for inspiration. I find my inspiration everywhere. All of these projects actually are inspired by, I didn't show you the inspired by picture for this one yet because I'm actually going to show it to you in a few minutes. But you know, it's meant for inspiration, and then for ideas for you to be able to, of course you can always copy it, but you can also switch it up to make it your own. And I'm sure you guys have a lot of great ideas that I haven't even thought of. So with my bee, I'm just kind of coming in with cross hatches, and once I have all of my cross hatches there, I'm going to come in and I'm going to connect all of those connect all the connections. I'm going to draw little dots, here you go, at all of the connection points, and I'm going to do that all over my little bee. And so once that was all done, actually, I think we're done with the project. Yeah, there we go. And this is normally where I'd show it off, but we're going to roll right into DIY number 5, and you're going to see why in just a second. So this was my inspiration picture. You can see that they did their little boo in orange and white. Again, I chose to do mine just in white. But we are going to make a wreath, and we are going to set that boo right in the middle. So you could certainly keep it separate if you want, but we're going to make a deco mesh wreath. So you can see I have my purple chenille stems. I have 12 of them because this particular Dollar Tree wreath has 6 of those connection points. So I am putting a chenille stem all the way around between the first and second, and then between the third and fourth rings at each of those connections. Now I'm taking my deco mesh. I've had this in my stash for a while. I'm not sure if I got it at Joann's or Hobby Lobby or Michael's. It was one of those 3. But I am securing it with my chenille stems, and I'm going to alternate from outside to inside, and then back out to outside and inside. And then I will, once I've got it all secured there, back where I started, I'm going to bring it across that little connection point, if you can see what I'm doing there. And I'm just going to secure that down, and then I'm going to start doing the same thing. So now I'm starting on the inside, and I'm going to alternate. So I'm kind of crisscrossing my deco mesh all the way around the wreath as I go. And once I get that all around the wreath, I'll go ahead and I'll fluff it up. But as you can see here, I'm just taking it from the inside to the outside, outside to the inside, and I'm just twisting my little chenille stems, you know, once or twice, so that I make sure that that is secure in there and not going to go anywhere. So once I've got it all the way around, I'm going to just trim that off very carefully, set that roll aside, and here I am fluffing it. So now I'm going to take my orange. These are from the Dollar Tree. These are leftover from a project I did last fall, I believe. And I'm going to put these 3 together, and I'm going to trim off the ends just to get them even. And now I'm going to cut segments that were about 8 inches long. I did not measure it. I just kind of played it by ear, and would you believe I was able to get exactly the number. I got 24 of these little squares just by doing it by hand. It was meant to be. I had an extra roll just in case I needed it, but this was honestly meant to be. So I have 24 of these little squares that I've cut. And once I had them all cut, I went ahead and kind of rolled them up. I used the natural curl to my advantage, and I got them all set and ready to use on my wreath. So once I had them all curled up like that, I went ahead and I set them to the side and pulled my wreath back over. And now I'm going to take 2 at a time. I'm crossing them over each other, kind of like an X, and I'm going to drop them into my wreath. Now, I wasn't really thinking when I was doing this, because I am planning on using ribbon afterwards, but it was late. You know, I'm always crafting late at night. And so I was like twisting my twist ties down, not twist ties, chenille stems, pipe cleaners, whatever you want to call them. And I was like, you silly, you wanted to put ribbon in there, so I'm going to have to untwist all of those, but it's not the end of the world. So I have my Kirkland's ribbon that I'm always talking about. This is 50 yards for like $7. I got it last season. And then I also have my buffalo check ribbon that I had picked up from the Hobby Lobby. And I'm just trying to think what I'm going to use to measure these off. So I happen to have these Dollar Tree lights on my craft table. And so I was like, okay, that'll work. So I'm just wrapping my ribbon around this so that I can get it all measured off. If I had to estimate, I would say these are probably 6 to 8 inch lengths once folded, if that makes sense. So probably about a 12-inch length of ribbon. So I went ahead and cut those, and then I'm going to dovetail the ends, so just folding them in half and cutting from my folded edge out to the wired edge at an angle up. So hopefully that makes sense. And then I did the same thing with my gold ribbon, and I needed 12 of each color. So now I am going to cross them similar to what I was doing with the little orange swirlies. And I'm going to come in, I'm going to undo my chenille stem that I had already kind of rolled down. And then I'm going to tuck my ribbon in there, twist that a couple of times to secure it. Here you can see right here, kind of pinching them in the middle after I put them in an X, get them down inside there, and then I twisted my chenille stem, and then I'm just kind of rolling the chenille stem down. If you want to get super fancy, I was just using my finger for this, but you can get a pencil or the end of a paint stick and not paint stick, paintbrush. And you can twirl your chenille stem around that, and it makes it a little bit more perfect. So now I'm getting my boo ready to secure in there. At first I thought I was going to be able to use that hanger, and then I decided, you know, it just wasn't taut enough. It wasn't secure. It was too flimsy. So I went ahead and cut that off after all, and I'm just taking my staple gun and I am securing a chenille stem to the top and then also to the bottom, and I'm going to use those to help secure it into the wreath. Not help secure it, it is going to secure it. So I just tuck it down inside through the mesh and everything and down to the wire base, and then I twist my chenille stems around the wire base. I'm going to flip it over here in a second for you to see what I'm talking about. So just bring it through, make sure it's nice and secure, and voila. I did it on either side. I fluffed up my ribbon, and we were all done. Excuse the mess all around me. It is time to clean up my craft table because it's even getting on my nerves. But here it is, and I hope you like it as much as I do. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. Thank you again so much for being here. Just a reminder to be sure to check out the playlist down in my description box. There's going to be some phenomenal inspiration because we have such a great group of ladies, or ghouls, as we would say. But until the next time, be well, be kind, and make it a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Take good care. Bye. Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel. This is me, yeah. Hi everybody, and welcome. Shh. Bye.